everybody? It's JT Sports Match, you guys, with another video. In this video, I'm here with my Tampa Bay Vipers versus the Seattle Dragons XFL Week 2 preview and prediction. Before I get into it, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, because I upload NFL videos, XFL videos, and college football videos daily. So, going into this matchup, both of these teams are going into Week 2 after suffering Week 1 losses. And really, both of these teams lost in basically similar fashion. Both of these teams lost their respective games just for the simple fact that they couldn't take care of the football. Both of these teams turned the ball over a solid amount of times, and it was a big reason why they ended up losing. For the Tampa Bay Vipers, they lost 23-3 to the New York Guardians, and the big reason for that was because Aaron Murray had two crucial interception. One interception he threw inside the red zone, and another one he threw not inside the red zone, but outside looking in of the red zone. And the weird thing about it is, the Vipers, not only did they turn the ball over, but they also had poor execution inside of the red zone. And that's something in this day and age of football that you cannot do. If you cannot score inside the red zone, you're not going to win a lot of games. And their red zone offense was so bad at one point. I mean, their coach just opted to go for the field goal just so they could get a couple of points on the board just for confidence or something like that. So that, I think, for the Vipers, this is a game that they have to bounce back. And for the Seattle Dragons, I mean, they were in it. They lost to the DC Defenders last week. And for the most part, they were fairly in that game going into halftime. And then in the third quarter, the DC Dragons ended up scoring 19 points. And the Seattle Dragons weren't really able to get that much going on the offensive side of the ball. And I mean, I thought Brandon Silvers played a pretty good game. But the difference that I feel in that game, them winning and losing that game, was the two interceptions that he threw. And that's a big reason why Seattle ended up losing that game, and turnovers. So the biggest question is, whoever wins this game, are they going to be able to win the turnover battle? Now, also an interesting factor to look and a developing story going into this game is going to be who will be the starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Vipers going into this game. That's the biggest question, because, look, Aaron Murray had a really disappointing game. It's probably one of the worst games I ever seen Aaron Murray play in all my years watching Aaron Murray play football. I mean, some of his decisions were really questionable inside the red zone. And I mean, also, I got to question the play calling as well. When you get inside the red zone, there's no reason for you to keep throwing the football. I know the head coach for the Tampa Bay Vipers has kind of like a pass-first mentality, but when you get inside the red zone, it's really hard to throw the ball inside the red zone because the field is shorter, it's more traffic, and it's hard to throw those passes into those tight windows that you have to be able to make inside the red zone. So I'm really questioning the decision to not try to run the football a little bit more inside the red zone. So, I mean, for the Vipers, you have to question, will Aaron Murray be the starting quarterback going into this game? Because you have a quarterback and a guy like a Quentin Flowers who's a dual-threat quarterback who can really help you out inside the red zone. When those passing lanes get clogged up, it's always good to have a quarterback who's mobile, who's able to make things happen with his feet. So, the question has to be asked, will Aaron Murray remain the starting quarterback for this matchup? That's the biggest question. And for the Seattle Dragons, I mean, they don't really have any questions. In my opinion, I thought they played a pretty good game. I thought turnovers overall is what ended up killing them. And they were facing a juggernaut, which was the DC Dragons. I mean, that not the DC Dragons, but the DC Defenders, excuse me. That team is a juggernaut on the offensive side of the ball. They have a talented group of wide receivers. You got Cardell Jones, who is one of the better quarterbacks in this league right now. He's actually, according to Pro Football Focus, they gave him an overall grade of 92.2, which makes him the highest graded quarterback in the XFL, according to Pro Football Focus, from Week 1. So when I look at the Seattle Dragons, the question is, can they be able to limit their turnovers and be able to run the football effectively and win the game? Because I think whoever wins this game is going to be the team that's able to win the turnover battle. And also for the Tampa Bay Vipers, I think the Tampa Bay Vipers, they have to be able to score inside the red zone. Because, look, in this day and age of football, you're not going to win a lot of games if you're not able to score inside the red zone. And also, not only that, were they unable to get points inside the red zone, but they also missed out on a couple of chances to maybe they probably could have put a couple of points on the board if Aaron Murray never had those two interceptions. So I think that's really what killed the Tampa Bay Vipers. And when you look at how these teams constructed, I mean, the Tampa Bay Vipers is a team that loves to throw the football. I mean, they love to throw the football. They love to spread the defense out. And they had the quarterback to do so on Aaron Murray. But if Aaron Murray, once again, ends up struggling and turns the ball over, I think you have to look at Quentin Flowers, because we look at the impact that P.J. Walker had. He's the starting quarterback for the Houston Roughnecks. His ability to not only throw the football but run the football was very hard to defend last week. And it was a big reason why the Houston Roughnecks ended up winning their game by such a comfortable margin. So I think if Aaron Murray comes to this game and he ends up struggling, I think Quentin Flowers should end up coming in to replace him. And another thing is, even if they do decide to rock with Aaron Murray, I still think that Quentin Flowers needs to get a lot more action than what he saw on the field last week. He wasn't really in for that much, and I think putting him in certain positions could help out that struggling offense inside the red zone. Another thing that I've noticed about the Tampa Bay Vipers is that the wide receivers, they choose size over speed. So they have a lot of big, tall wide receivers. And it's nothing wrong with having a big physical group of wide receivers, but when you have a bigger group of wide receivers, you kind of limit yourself to speed on the field. Now, they do have non-receivers on the roster, so it's going to be interesting to figure out what kind of rotation are they going to end up having this game versus the Seattle Dragons and things like that. So I'm really interested in seeing how the Tampa Bay Vipers offense looks compared to what they looked week one, because week one was really abysmal. And the crazy thing is, they outgained their opponent. They outgained the New York Gardens in almost every aspect on the offensive side of the ball. Passing yards, rushing yards. The only thing that killed them was poor execution in the red zone and their inability to take care of the football. And for the Seattle Dragons, that's really what killed them in that game versus the DC Defenders. But also what killed the Seattle Dragons is their inability to stop the big plays. When you look at the DC Defenders, that is a big strike offense. They like to push the ball downfield. They're very aggressive in their attack, and that Seattle Dragons secondary was not able to hang around. So looking at the Seattle Dragons, I mean, you're looking at a passing attack that's more than capable of doing some damage. I believe Aaron Murray is a really capable quarterback, despite what he showed in week one. If he does end up being a starter in this game, I think he should be able to expose the Seattle Dragons secondary that we saw some big weaknesses in last week versus the DC Defenders. So, I mean, that's my question going into this game. Who's going to be able to win a turnover battle? Because whoever ends up having the least amount of turnovers is going to end up winning this game. For the Tampa Bay Vipers is red zone execution. Are they going to be able to score inside the red zone? Because that's the difference between a great offense and a bad offense. When you look at some of the best offenses in the NFL and in college football, they're all good at pushing the ball inside the red zone. But when you look at struggling offenses, most of the bad offenses in football, not just college football, but in professional football as well, they cannot score inside the red zone. And elite offenses can't score inside the red zone. So the Tampa Bay Vipers can't score inside the red zone. They're going to end up losing this game. Because when you look at all of the teams that won last week, they all were able to score and get points inside the red zone. And when you look at the teams that lost, they were unable to get points inside the red zone, and they were unable to take care of the football. So, I mean, I think red zone efficiency for the Tampa Bay Vipers is going to be a big key in this game, and they want to be able to win this game. Now, for the Seattle Dragons, since I rambled more about the Tampa Bay Vipers than I did for the Seattle Dragons is a balanced team, in my opinion. I think they can run the football and they can pass the football. It all just comes down to, can they take care of the football? And this is also a Tampa Bay Vipers defense that, according to Pro Football Focus, rated them the worst defense so far in the XFL. So, I mean, this is an offense that should be more than capable of being able to exploit that Tampa Bay Vipers defense, as that defense is as bad as what it looked like last week, which I don't really agree totally with Pro Football Focus that Tampa Bay Vipers have a terrible defense. I think that them having to be on the field so many times because Aaron Murray turned the football over also hindered them as well. But I don't think they had a bad performance versus New York Gardens. So I'm still going to be keeping my eye on it. That's going to be something interesting to watch. But the team that I'm taking to win this game, I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Vipers. I think Tampa Bay Vipers in this game, they bounce back in this matchup. And I think Tampa Bay Vipers, I think Aaron Murray comes back. He has a redemption game if he does end up being a starter, or if Quentin Flowers ends up being a starter. I think they come back in this game and they win this game 31-24. 26 is my final score prediction for this game, because I think Aaron Murray and the Tampa Bay Vipers squad, I think they're going to be able to bounce back from that poor performance that they had, and I think they're going to be able to win this game versus the Seattle Dragons team, and I think they end up going 1-1 on the season. So let me know who you guys have win this game down in the comment section down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos, XFL videos, and content, and thanks for watching.